Welcome back, folks. Buddy Orange Hat here to talk about the movie Battleship. So, as part of the last Tuesday theme stream, also happy Halloween to everybody. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Uh, Make sure that before we get started, to light up that fire button. Light it up as they would light up the enemy. Pew pew pew. So, yeah, we are going to be discussing Battleship as the last of the Alien versus military movies for October. November is going to be Jason Bourne Tuesdays. So, hope you all are getting ready for that. Also, tonight I will be on Barroom Podcast with my buddy Jake, as well as the rest of the Barroom panelists. Also, Sunday is going to be Two Towers discussion. We discussed Fellowship. It was great. Great. Had a great time talking that one. Make sure that you all subscribe and share out my streams. It helps get the watch time up. Apparently, YouTube is now tanking my watch time because I was at 2,900 yesterday. Now I lost, or I'm down to like 2,850. So if you can, or if you really want to support this channel, put on a playlist, let it go, or let it rip. Check out my other stuff. It really helps, folks. I'm trying to get fully monetized so I can have a little bit of a revenue stream going on to help supplement the bills and whatnot. But anyway, before I get started, let's say hi to the people in the chat. Sith Assassin Trailer, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. You never seen the whole movie and just the part in YouTube where they put the Mighty Mo back to work. Proud to be part of the same space or same state Mighty Battleship was named for. Nice. So, let me get the comment section back up. And I will not be showing the movie frame by frame, folks. Instead, I will be showing sort of a slideshow because I figure it's going to take less stress off of my Chromebook here, which is, or every time I try showing the movie, it ends up just screwing or just not doing well. And it makes it harder for me to talk with you guys. So the movie starts basically with them at our the science division, basically at NASA, discussing how they found a Goldilocks planet and how they're trying to send out communications from Saddle Ridge, Hawaii. And Zapata, the guy who plays the nerd of this Saddle Ridge, basically says if there is life out there, they're going to come here and it's going to be like, or they're basically going to invade. So then we get to the brothers Hoppers, or the brothers Hopper. It's played by Taylor Kitsch and Alexander Skarsgård. Gotta say, these two playing brothers was very good. It's Taylor Kitsch's birthday, Stone Hopper, or not Stone, but I forget his actual name. They call him Hopper in the movie, though. And so him and his brother, he's like, well, you can either get a job or you can join me in the Navy. And he's like, no and no. So basically his brother is one of those lazy ones that live on the couch and all that shit. And well, his brother really wants to impress this girl. So what does he do? What does he do? He decides to he decides that he sees this woman and she wants a chicken burrito, but the kitchen to the bar is closed. So he goes over to the store, breaks into the store. He's drunk as a skunk, goes in through the freaking air ducts, crashes through, causes a bunch of freaking damages, pays for the burrito, runs across the street, gets tased, stands up, and hands her this burrito, and she ends up smiling. And it's like, yeah, okay, so, all right. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I love how he plays it. I got a burrito. I got a burrito. And it's like, he's still getting up. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you are out of your fucking mind. But hey, she loves the fact that this dude tried to getting him one. So now he's in so his brother the next day basically says, you're going in the Navy with me. And a year later, it's the RIMPAC Games, which is basically the Olympics for for the World Navy. Now, before I get any further, I do want to go over cast and crew and whatnot. This movie was directed by Peter Berg, starring Taylor Kitsch, Alexander Skarsgård, Rihanna, Liam Neeson, Brooklyn Decker, Tadanobu Asano, and others. Now, Tadanobu Asano, many of you all know from Thor and 47 Ronin and a few other movies that he has been in. Those are the ones that I most notably know him in. So the space program keeps sending out signals, and we then see that there are a group of ships on approach. And we then get to the RIMPAC Games, which are essentially the World Olympics. And Hopper gets why isn't this well, apparently I never went past the all right, so talking points are now useless. Watched this a few days ago, so let's see how I do. So he ends up getting kicked in the face by Captain Nagata from Japan, and he ends up getting concussed and sending it over the hoop. He is you see these two here, freaking Woody and Rihanna's character. They are like, oh my God, man, he is clearly concussed. And this is Captain Nagata, played by Tadanobu Asano. And after that, well, he's late for the Battleship Missouri, the Mighty Mo, the USS Missouri. And we get introduced to the main admiral of the movie, Admiral Shane. And he is giving a thank you to all the veterans who served in the Navy during World War II on the Mighty Mo. And so it is a tradition that in the Navy, folks, for those of you who don't know, that if you want to marry the admiral's daughter and you are in the Navy, you need to get his permission. So, yeah, he's talking with his brother after his brother has done up on stage, and he's like, it's a useless tradition. He's like, no, it doesn't matter. And so he's like, just talk to him. He's right over there. And he sees the admiral just looking at him like, I dare you to fucking come over here. So he's like, oh my God. He runs to the bathroom, and he's just splashes water over his face. He's trying to come up with what to say to him. And Nagata comes in. He's like, talking to yourself, Mr. Hopper? No, actually, I was talking about you, Nagata. Mm-hmm. And so he starts beating on Nagata. And so, oh my God, this movie has such great comedy to it, but it also has a good story attached to it as well. So basically, Hopper is a troublemaker, and he has had a lot of freaking problems in the Navy where these two got into a fight. And as you can see here, there's a lot of bruising on his face. So Hopper gave him quite the ass kicking. That's for kicking me in the face and stuff like that. And so he's getting in trouble for it. Basically, Hopper is told, enjoy these naval games, Hopper. They are likely to be your last. Also, the admiral tells him, I cannot understand what my daughter sees in you. And that actually gets Hopper to react, to break to look at the admiral and then look forward again. And it's like, God damn it, he hit me he hit me in my weak spot. He's like, do you have anything to say to me? Anything? No, sir. I mean, he's he's very talented. He's a brilliant sailor and whatnot. However, he's too impulsive, and that is his problem. That is Hopper's problem in this movie. So essentially, that you have a hero's journey where this guy, he has the potential to be a great navyman. However, his impetuousness and his immaturity keeps getting in the way. You should get his permission no matter what, Navy or not. Always ask for the hand. Exactly, Junebug, and it's good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. So he calls his girlfriend, who is the admiral's daughter, and let me just pull that up because it's in the next scene, where she works with vets who are disabled vets and rehabilitating and whatnot due to lost limbs. And we get this one here who is actually in the army. He lost his legs and they got him to come in, and he's playing Mick Canales. And she is basically a physical therapist and helping them learn how to handle the prosthetic life, essentially. So they go mountain climbing, and she gets called by Hopper before they get out of range. He's like, "I'm sorry, babe, I screwed up. Just stop screwing up." And then we learn that the Saddle Ridge boys are picking up 5 tracks heading towards, Hawaii on Earth in the water. And these ships are heading towards Earth, and we get to Saddle Ridge, Hawaii. And there's Zapata, and he's like, "Oh my God, these things are heading towards me." So they end up arriving. And, the Navy is on alert because, these things just parked in the back or in the backyard of the Rim Pack Games. And Hopper was also called over to his brother's ship, the Samson, because his brother is commanding a ship. And he's like, "I just got off the phone with the JAG." And he's like, "And they're going to kick you out of the Navy. You got to make some calls. What call do I have, or calls can I make to teach you humility? I'm sorry, I don't have that number." You did this to yourself, essentially. His brother is basically giving him the hard lesson and the hard truth that you done fucked up. This is your fault. You got to deal with it. And these are the consequences of your behavior in the Navy. You can't do that shit in the Navy, you know? And yes, thank you, Neozoic. And hey, Cassie, good to see you. Cult Classic Cage, happy Halloween. And howdy, Orange. And all the good folks in the chat just dropped by to say hello and happy Halloween to Orange Hat and the good folks. Enjoy the rest of the stream and see you guys later. Definitely, I will see you on the bar room tonight. Also, I will be I have a hunch that Michael Myers might be showing up for the beginning to give you guys a special intro, but only if we can convince our buddy Jake at Barroom Podcast at Society Reviews to allow Michael Myers to do a brief intro to the stream. But anyway, Cassie, make it happen too. Vouch for it if you can. The guy needs to do more movies. The guy with the robotic legs, he was out there and he was very good. I saw him in The Unit. Me and my mom have been watching The Unit, and I believe, or he was also in The Unit, which was pretty nice. And yes, you are absolutely right. He should be in more movies because he honestly did a good job in this one. Now, this movie is not exactly what a lot of people call good. It has its I do like it. I really do like it, especially, I mean, my family has military, or I'm an Army brat for one. My parents were in the military. I couldn't, or I wanted to, but the military wouldn't take me. My grandfather was in World War II. He was also in the Army. He was actually on that beach from Saving Private Ryan, different sector, but he was on that beach, so he saw some shit. And so also I do have other family who was in the Navy. My uncle who lives over in California. He was in the Navy, so he was a sailor. So I respect the military. I respect the armed services. I may not respect the commander of the armed services because that man is quite very much an invalid. Let's just say that. But anyway, getting back to this movie does a good job, I think, with what they do or in the story they were trying to tell. This is based on the Battleship game. So you will see things in this movie that very much call out the game or very much are do honor to the game Battleship. You know, the grid, the pegs, placement of ships and whatnot. It's very well done. And so when these ships arrive from space and they're crashing into the ground, well, they send Hopper and a couple others over to inspect the ship. And he gets blasted back, but by touching the thing, he also creates a dome over Hawaii and a humongous air or wide area, trapping only 3 destroyers in the inside the dome. Admiral Shane and the rest of the armed services are outside of the dome. So yeah, then we get these 3 ships surfacing, and we get the placement, basically kind of like Battleship. They're like, let's give him a warning, helmsman. And these ships are just staring out right now. Don't know what to make of this. So when they blow the horn, the ship in the middle basically sends out a pulse, an air pulse, to basically match them. So that is one of the cool things I like about this alien or these aliens. They don't just go outright invade. They basically are coming in, seeing what their enemies are capable of, and simply saying, or when they blow the horn, these ones basically blow a bigger horn, which shatters the windows of the destroyer's cabin. So these guys are basically just waiting for moves to be made. And after the Samson fires a warning shot because these guys are in imminent danger, so they fire a warning shot, and it's like, oh, okay. So they mark them red because this ship hasn't, or the green ship here hasn't fired yet, but the red one has fired, and it fired a shot across their bow. So it's like, okay, you guys fired on us. We are now free to engage you. And this is their weaponry, folks. If you have played the game Battleship, you know very much that these are the pegs from Battleship. Both my grandfathers were in World War II. My mom's dad was in the Marines in the South Pacific, and my dad's dad was in Army, Air Force, and World War II and Korea. Nice. You never saw this movie, Cassie? It's actually a very fun movie. Like I said, it has its points where it's kind of low end, but for the most part, this movie does a good job honoring military. And I think that is something that is very important nowadays because the military and police are getting a bad rap because of bullshit from political stuff. Never noticed that the things are designed after the pegs. Yeah, they designed these straight out of the pegs, and they're essentially explosives that are launched over to enemy craft. And I thought that they did a good job with that. So the next bit, after the Samson engages, well, the Samson gets lit up with a bunch of the pegs, and he has to basically watch his brother die in front of him. So Hopper's like, get me to the John Paul Jones now. And while he's arguing, as he is now next full senior, Hopper just watched his brother die, so he's full bent on revenge. these things get launched into the air to find some targets. So, yeah. I mean, these things look like they are straight out of a Michael Bay movie, except that this is a Peter Berg movie. And we also see the human-looking aliens, how they only have like lizard eyes and whatnot. I mean, this movie has great design, and I do love the story behind it. And these guys who show up, their hands are kind of like this, where it's 4 fingers, not 5. So my these 2 fingers are basically serve as 1 finger, and their hands are kind of like this, where they can spread out like 4 fingers, and that's it. Reminds me a tiny bit of a film called The Final Countdown with Kirk Douglas and Martin Sheen. Interesting. So they went to, or the Japanese went to assist Hopper, and they got their ship sank. So now it's just the John Paul Jones. And he's like, we're going in full attack. And it's like, we have nothing to attack, and the Miyoko is sinking, sir. And your duty as a sailor, if you are a captain of a ship, is essentially to aid those in jeopardy, or to aid those in need. So he's like, all right, fine, hard right rudder. And so he brings up, or he goes to save the Japanese who are in the water to make sure that they get help. And well, one of these boys was also fished out of the water. And we see that they look remarkably somewhat human, different hand structure, but also their eyes are different, and they can project telepathic imagery in their heads, because one of them grabs Hopper's face and basically lets him, or makes him see what they intend to do. They're invaders. They go from planet to planet looking for something to fight. And I mean, that is such a kind of cliche thing, where Independence Day, they are like locusts. They go to planet, stripping up natural resources and move on. These ones just, they want a good fight, essentially. And these guys are called regents. So one of them is on the ship, and Hopper gets Rihanna to go up to the gun, or to one of the gun seats, and has him blow, or he leads it up to the deck, and we get one of these boys blown up to blown to shit. So we then notice that these things don't show up on radar, so they have to find a way of seeing them without seeing them. And the Japanese, or Captain Nagata, he's like, we have a way of seeing them without seeing them. We've been doing it to America, or to the U.S. for years, and they use tsunami buoys to track water displacement. So if you can't use your radar, you see how close they are to buoys. And they end up drawing a grid showing all the different buoys around Hawaii, and you get the essentially the grid for a Battleship game. And we see that one of them is moving. These buoys that go underwater, you can track the enemy's ship. So after using a couple Hellfire missiles to pound down on 2 of the ships, they have another ship that's tracking them, and it's moving all over the place. So let's take them to a place they don't want to go. They take them around a reef, which is which allows them to get a direct line on them. And I absolutely love this next shot here, which is, let me get this thing back up, where they are firing directly on the ship as it comes around, as the sun is coming up. And these things, because Wordy couldn't, or realized that they had lizard-like eyes, so they can't handle sunlight. So also he put on the helmet that the one they found had taken off, and it's basically just very strong sunglasses. So after they launch the missiles and whatnot, and are having one of the greatest cinematic shots where it shows missiles and their guns shooting, and one of the missiles just coming straight for a camera. It is just so well done, and it's like, oh shit. Well, they have their moment of celebration. Now, every movie like this, you get your moment of celebration, and then you realize, oh fuck, because the tide turns again. And well, yeah. These boys who had just torn up shit on land, they attacked the military base, they attacked a highway, they went to a kid's baseball game where the kid's like standing in front of it, and it's like, Dad? Well, then this thing looks up, sees the highway, marks it red, and goes just pound town on the structural pillars of the highway. So this thing tears up the John Paul Jones and causes it to sink. And everybody's in lifeboats. They're like, what do you want us to do, Hopper? We have no ships left. We have one. And they get the Mighty Mo, the battleship. And he's like, we got a battleship. And he's like, are you crazy? That thing's a museum. And they get onto the ship, and they're talking, this thing is steam powered, and all the controls are analog. It's just nothing, or this thing is totally out of date. It's obsolete. I have no idea how to, or his weapons officer has no idea how to handle all this stuff. So it's like, I don't know what you intend for us to do, sir. Well, these boys start showing up, and the score for this movie is also incredibly well done. So he's like, you guys have done so much for your country, and I have no right to or nobody has any right to ask you anymore or to do anymore, but I am asking. And so so the man in front asked, he's like, what do you need, son? We need to borrow your boat, sir. And folks, setting it up, the older Navymen reacting with the younger ones is so freaking well done. This movie really gave them a chance to basically have a small taste of what they did back then, just without the imminent danger. And I think that is a nice thing to do with these boys, because these men, you are not getting better than these men. These men fought wars that we never could. World War II, World War I, Vietnam, these are wars that can't be fought today by soldiers today, because honestly, it was a different time. Lesser resources, and they created the system they created victory where we can just flip a switch and it's victory. These guys went out, fought in the mud and blood. I'm not saying that soldiers haven't done that nowadays or during the War on Terror and whatnot, but compared to the ones in World War II, where you were limited, a lot more limited with your weapons and tactics, folks, these guys truly were the greatest generation. Love, or the old vets, what are you going to do? Just stand there staring at me? Get on that spotter. Yeah, very much Sith Assassin trailer. And yep, everything now is drones and airstrikes mainly. Exactly. And we don't even have aerial combat much anymore, because, well, we're too damn, or people will not cross each other's borders if we can help it. We don't seek war. We fight war when it needs to be fought. However, we do not seek it. So these guys are helping out, and I love this one has one of the best freaking lines in the movie. Let's drop some lead on these mother. He's going to say effers, but they cut to a Hopper saying or screaming fire, which is so freaking great. So it's like, but also the aliens are on Saddle Ridge because they're trying to create an uplink to call in some more forces. And so they managed to contact the John Paul Jones before it sank, saying, "We need you to blow up this mountain so that they cannot, or so that they can't send out another call." So this guy is asking, "Sir, are we really firing on Oahu?" Looks like it. Holy shit. Folks, just one shell from a battleship is enough to do significant damage to wherever it hits. That's not a joke. You should see how these things you should see the damage that these things can do. And imagine a battleship really cutting loose, which unfortunately the Mighty Mo only has enough fuel for a maintenance run and has a few shots here and there stocked, weapons and whatnot, which I do believe in reality the weapons were all gutted. But for the movie's purpose, this thing is going up against the aliens, and the Missouri can really do a good job at it. Now, you see their targeting system where this ship here in front is actually where the ship is going to be, so they're targeting there. So Hopper gets a inspiration. He's like, "Art of War. Drop the port anchor." What? Just do it. So they drop the anchor after these guys are targeting them, and it's like, "We're going to die. We are going to die. You're going to die. I'm going to die. We're all going to die. Just not today." So when the anchor stops and pulls them flush to the ship, parallel, well, that's when the Missouri unloads. Folks, firing from a battleship is something truly wonderful to behold, even though this is all a digital shot. But I'm willing to bet people have gone deaf simply by being on the deck. And then you see the sailors using the 50 cals, and they only have one shot left. So they got to carry it to their last remaining gun while his girlfriend and the army guy without the legs, or the army vet without the legs, is on Saddle Ridge trying to disrupt their system further. And they also ran across Zapata, who's just a coward and whatnot. I don't acknowledge him in this movie because he's very cowardly and whatnot, but he does eventually come back in with a redemption. Those Iowa-class battleships had so much power that when fired, the force of the recoil actually made it look like it pushed them backwards. Yeah, they really do. Seth Assassin trailer. I mean, these are it's like where you are rocked backwards on firing these things, man. It's like, holy shit. I mean, this movie has great action in it. It has great it's basically an action movie that just puts you into it and you're just along for the ride. So then here's Mick going up against one of these guys with his legs. He drops this thing doesn't know what to make of him, so he's marked green on the heads up display. And so he then starts boxing with this guy because he was also a boxer before he lost his legs. And so he manages to get the helmet off and starts boxing with it, which is a nice shot too. And he ends up getting saved by Zapata, the scientist. And so then we finally see the main ship destroyed, and we get the shell finally loaded up. And this guy, he's like, "It's armed." She's armed. So they get to fire that one last shot. And folks, when they show it from inside the barrel, this sucker coming out and flying, and which later creates a chain reaction to destroy the system. But yes, drop the barrier, and as those flying balls of death come barreling for the Missouri, well, the barrier went down, so the admiral can send jets in there to take them down, and it's victory for Earth, basically. Well, oh shoot. Let me pull those back up because that was, or I did not intend to stop sharing. Mea culpa. Let's see here. And there we go. So then we get to the ceremonies, and Mick Canales is honored for his exceptional bravery, engaging an enemy force that was beyond human capacity. He made sure that, or the Army persevered in this one. So then we, let's see here. See that Hopper who was about to get kicked out, is receiving an award on his brother's behalf as his brother died. And then he's like, stand fast, Hopper. And then he awards him a medal and then tells him, and I look forward to seeing you on a ship in a command of your own soon. So yeah, Hopper is now no longer going to be kicked out because he saved the world. And well, his girlfriend basically is like, I wish I could talk to him right now. I'm fully ready to ask him and whatnot. And so she's like, oh, good, because he's right there. So he now goes up to ask the admiral for his daughter's hand. And he's like, sir, if I may, I'm listening. I love your daughter very much, and it would be an honor if I could marry her, sir. No, thank you, sir. I mean, this is really, thank you. What? Wait, what? No. Sir, I saved the world. Saving the world is one thing, Hopper. My daughter is quite another. But, sir, no means no, Hopper. Anyway, I'm late for lunch. I think I'll have a chicken burrito. And I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah. So it's like, what? Or as the admiral's walking away, he's like, what? So the admiral turns back. He's like, come on, Hopper, we can discuss your surrender over a meal. And so he's walking back with him, and his girlfriend gives him a thumbs up. And so, yeah, it's like, oh, shit. So that is basically the end of it. And that's the end of the movie. With a small, I didn't have any slides for it, but this, or part of the fleet that was coming in from space, busts off or ran into a satellite. So part of it landed in China and a little bit in Europe. And these Scottish kids find a piece, and they're trying to get into it, and they get this guy to help, and they get it open, and one of the alien hands comes up and scares them off screen, and that's the end of the movie. Hey, Eagle Rider, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. Happy Halloween back to you. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Miss you. Good to talk to you and whatnot. But for the most part, folks, this movie is well done. I do enjoy this movie. The story is compelling. Hopper's journey from impetuous Navy officer to gonna get kicked out of the Navy to stepping up even when he's about to get kicked out of the Navy. He still steps up and does what's required of him, basically giving him that hero's journey, but also having help from all those around him. And yes, Rihanna has a nice shot in this movie where she's gets her moment to shine. I mean, I'm not a fan of Rihanna outside of this movie, but yep, need to drag you back to where you started. Yeah, I know. I really do need to get back on with you sometime. And you know what? Next time, or I'm going to try to get on with you again. Yes, your channel does need a little bit of Orange Nerd. Tonight I can't though, but definitely will in the near future. Yeah, my word on that, Rosetta. So this movie does do a good job with cinematography, or the the CGI is hit and miss. Some of the acting could be a lot better. It's like some of you guys just really need to touch up your craft a little bit more. But for the most part, this movie I thought was pretty well done. Objectively speaking, this movie is about a 7. It's just edges over the pass because or the CGI is bad. However, it's got a great score. It has a good story. It's meant for dumb fun, really, and it does a good job at doing that. Subjectively speaking, I put this movie at about 8.5. I enjoy it. I like how they treated the military with respect, and I like how you have some of those comedy moments in there that really wouldn't fly in the service, but they do a good job with it regardless. They allow some suspension of disbelief here, and it really is done well. Respect for the Navy was key to the making of this film because remember, the military for Independence Day, they were all for it until they found out that they were going up against aliens and Area 51 was going to be a factor. So they're like, yeah, we're pulling out. We are not going to help you because they made the military kind of look silly and whatnot. So, yeah. Also, back then, Area 51 wasn't really a well-known secret. However, it was still known by conspiracy theorists at the time, which turned out to be right. But anyway, moviegoer. This movie is a 9.5 out of 10. Very little pacing issues. I was thoroughly entertained. It does a good job at keeping your ass in the seat. You get a good laugh. You get a good cry. You get a good tear for the respect for the military. So yes, this movie does a good job at doing or telling a good story of militaries versus aliens. So with that, folks, that is going to be my review. It's a shorter one, yes, I know. Mainly because I had to wing it because I forgot to do all the talking points. So that's my fault. Thank you so much to Eagle Rider, Sith Assassin Trayla, Neozoic, and Cult Classic Cage at Junebug Films for coming on and supporting me. Tonight, I will be on Odin's stream, not on his stream, but in the chat, modding the channel. Oh my gosh, you turned 4-0 this December. Well, good lady. I shall wish you the best of happiness come that time. And y'all make sure that your kids have a happy Halloween. Make sure that you tune in for the Barroom podcast before it goes live so that you might be able to see Michael Myers. So yeah, definitely tune in for that, folks. Make sure that you tune in November in the early Wednesdays and Thursdays of November, the 2nd and 3rd of the Wednesdays and Thursdays, because me and Mara are going to be doing our 1s and 2s and Thursday singles. You will come on my stream for it. Yes, I will. And you have a good day too, Eagle Rider. And you all have a happy Halloween. And stay tuned for a short because I'm going to do another Halloween short and then put my Halloween mask to rest. Or actually, no. I will do another short for I'll do another short for November 1st with the Halloween mask. One last one, you know? Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are all freaking amazing and beautiful people. And always remember to stay humble. Take care.